the cameras flashed. I mean, the crowd just completely froze.
Right, it was this massive moment.
And just like that, Hollywood had a brand new obsession.
A total obsession.
Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and, those viral influencer scandals.
Exactly. From red carpet surprises to major social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today, we've got a deep dive that is custom-tailored just for you. We are looking at a story that basically took over the internet.
Oh, absolutely took over.
We're talking about the whirlwind romance, the massive two-country wedding, and then those immediate viral baby rumors surrounding global pop superstar Dua Lipa and actor Callum Turner.
Yeah, the transition from this super private romantic connection to this wild crowdsourced public spectacle.
Right. And we have a huge stack of sources to go through today. We're pulling from the knot for all those granular wedding timeline details.
Which are fascinating, by the way.
So fascinating. Plus, we've got celebrity news reports from IB Times UK and Geo News, and some really vulnerable, surprisingly candid interview excerpts from Esquire UK and British Vogue.
Yeah, those interviews really ground the whole thing.
Yeah.
Our mission for this deep dive is to basically explore how that transition happens, right? Why does the internet absolutely refuse to let two massive stars just exist in the present moment?
Seriously. Why rush the timeline? Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we get into, the viral baby rumors and the absolute chaos online, we have to talk about how this started.
The foundation of it all.
Exactly. And the foundation is it sounds like a movie script.
It really does. It's this serendipitous rom-com style meet cute that happened in early 2024.
Right.
They literally bumped into each other at an event, and they realized they were both reading the exact same book.
Which is so rare. And it wasn't just any book, right? It was Hernan Diaz's novel, Trust.
Yeah, Trust. And it gets crazier. Callum later revealed that not only were they reading the same book, they were on the exact same chapter.
I mean, come on.
I know. It's wild. He basically told her he'd just finished the first chapter, and she looked right at him and said, "I just finished the first chapter too."
And he replied, "So we're on the same page."
Which is just the perfect line.
It's almost too perfect. As someone who follows pop culture, when you hear a story like that, part of you goes, wait, was this PR?
Right. People are so cynical now.
Yeah.
But from a sociological standpoint, sharing a little detail like that is this brilliant piece of narrative engineering.
Yeah.
Even if it's completely accidental.
Because it just feels so human.
Exactly. It authenticates them. It taps into our fundamental human love for just a good story. It makes these two global, untouchable icons instantly relatable to you and me.
Yeah, it really does. But then you contrast that quiet, relatable, literary beginning with how they actually got married, and, well, it is a stark contrast.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the sources are calling it a deconstructed wedding, which just sounds so fancy.
It does sound incredibly fancy.
Right. And it wasn't just a weekend thing. It spanned 9 days across 2 different countries.
Yeah, so part 1 of this deconstructed wedding happened on May 30, 2026. This was the intimate civil ceremony.
In London, right.
Yes, at the old Marylebone Town Hall. Very chic, very private. Dua wore this amazing custom Schiaparelli skirt suit.
Oh, I saw the photos. People were immediately comparing her to Bianca Jagger in 1971.
Yes, that exact vibe. And Callum wore a very sharp, classic navy suit. So that was their private legal milestone.
Okay, but then, and this is where I have to push back a little less than a week later, from June 5th to the 7th, they moved the entire production to Palermo, Sicily.
The grand sequel.
The massive sequel. They took over the 18th century Villa Valguarnera, which I guess is known as Little Versailles.
Yeah, it's this sprawling, breathtaking estate.
Right. And it's packed with stars. You've got Donatella Versace, Charlie XCX, Joe Alwyn. They had Carl Cox and David Guetta DJing the reception.
Just a casual lineup.
Just casual. And Elton John serenading them on the piano with Your Song during the vow swap.
And don't forget the bespoke embroidered handkerchiefs they handed out that said, "Stay mad with me forever."
Okay, so this is where I struggle, right? Because they call it a deconstructed wedding for intimacy. But to me, this structure looks identical to an album rollout.
Oh, that's an interesting way to look at it.
Like, you drop the understated lead single in London to get everyone talking, and then a week later, boom, you drop the highly produced studio album in Sicily to just dominate the culture.
Right, the mega event.
Yeah. So I have to ask, is this a genuine desire for intimacy? Or is it a way to prolong a cultural moment? Are they victims of the fame machine, or are they feeding it?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, It's all about managing the beast that is modern fame. It looks contradictory, sure.
Definitely.
But in public relations at that ultra-high level, there's this concept of the controlled burn.
Wait, like what they do in forestry?
Precisely like forestry.
Yeah.
You set small, controlled fires to clear the underbrush so that a massive wildfire doesn't take out the whole forest.
Okay, I see where you're going.
Right. For a pop icon and a movie star, the media's demand for content is the wildfire. If they tried to keep the whole thing entirely secret, the paparazzi would be scaling the walls of the villa.
Oh, 100%. There would be drones everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So by giving the public the Schiaparelli suit in London and then the Elton John serenade in Sicily, they're executing a controlled burn. They stagger the event to satisfy their own need for a private milestone, while also giving the public the global cultural event they demand.
So they basically feed the beast the Sicilian villa so the beast doesn't break down the door of their actual house.
That is exactly it.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense. But the thing about a controlled burn is it assumes the beast will eventually be satisfied. And later in the episode, we are going to talk about a shocking twist where the internet proves it is never satisfied.
Never. The beast is always hungry.
Right. And if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you subscribe because we've got even crazier stories coming right up in this deep dive.
Yeah, so moving on from that curated, glamorous Italian bubble, when they step back into everyday reality, it was a massive shock to the system.
Right, because now they're back in America, officially newlyweds, and they have to do their red carpet debut.
Which happened on August 3, 2026, at the SVA Theater in NYC.
For Callum's new rom-com, right? One night only.
Yes. And outwardly, the armor was flawless. Dua was in this stunning custom Ferragamo gown with a plunging halter neckline. Callum was in a double-breasted Louis Vuitton suit.
They looked incredible, like literal royalty.
They did. But Callum did this interview with Esquire UK where he was so candid about the bizarre reality of their new life.
What did he say?
Well, he called the wedding the most beautiful day of his life, obviously. But then he talked about how surreal was to just walk through a normal park in London and have total strangers shouting congratulations at them.
Oh, wow. I mean, you can kind of relate on a tiny scale, right? Like when you update your relationship status or post about a new job and suddenly people you haven't spoken to in 10 years are in your comments demanding details.
Right. It's that sudden influx of attention.
But multiply that by like 50 million. It's just this jarring collapse of privacy.
The collapse of the private sphere, exactly. And it ties right into how parasocial relationships work.
Explain that a bit more.
Sure. So our brains aren't naturally wired to tell the difference between a close friend and a celebrity we see on our phones every single day.
Mm-hmm.
When you listen to Dua Lipa during a breakup or watch Callum on screen, your brain logs them as a close acquaintance.
Right. You feel like you actually know them.
So when they get married, the public feels this deeply ingrained, almost biological entitlement to share in that joy.
But doesn't that intense level of public attention inherently alter a relationship's internal dynamic? Or is it just, the cost of doing business when you're that famous?
It's a huge risk to the dynamic.
Yeah.
Having personal milestones become public property means a couple has to build what psychologists call an internal fortress.
An internal fortress. I like that.
You need a shared reality that the public can't touch, which is why that sliding doors meet cute with the book was so crucial. It's real. It's theirs.
And they need that, especially since Callum is currently one of the bookie's top favorites to be the next James Bond.
Oh, if he gets Bond, the scrutiny will absolutely skyrocket.
It'll be insane. It's already intense. But Callum actually touched on this in an interview. He said he and Dua are part of the same circus.
The same circus, yes. That mutual understanding is so important. They both travel constantly. They deal with press junkets, the loss of anonymity.
Right. They speak the same weird language of fame.
If one of them was a civilian outside the industry, the sheer volume of public intrusion could breed so much resentment. But because they're in the same circus, they can insulate each other.
They can protect the fortress. But here's where it gets really interesting. And that's not even the wildest part of this story. Because no matter how strong that fortress is, the internet is always trying to breach the walls.
Oh.
The public refuses to let them just enjoy the honeymoon phase. It's like watching a movie on 2x speed. The algorithm demands the immediate sequel.
Right. So we move from intrusive enthusiasm
Right.
into basically the active weaponization of misinformation.
Yes, literally days after the Sicily wedding wrapped up, TikTok and X completely exploded with rumors that Dua Lipa was pregnant.
It was everywhere.
It wasn't just a few tweets. We're talking about videos racking up tens of millions of views overnight.
Millions. And the primary catalyst was this short video clip going around where Dua allegedly looks at the camera and says, "I'm eating for two now."
Which is just infuriating when you know the truth.
Totally out of context.
Completely. The actual reality behind that clip, it was pulled from an old, completely unrelated interview. She was talking about a necklace she was wearing.
A piece of jewelry. Not a baby.
Not a baby at all. But someone stripped away the context, slapped on this sensational text overlay, and the internet just ran with it. People were even using generic stock ultrasound photos and claiming they were hers.
Which is just wild.
Huh.
But what's fascinating here is how this shows confirmation bias operating at a massive scale.
How so?
Well, the human brain loves a predictable script. And societally, the script is you meet, you marry, you have a baby.
Right, the classic timeline.
So the public knew. They just got married. They are subconsciously waiting for that next plot point. When the algorithm feeds them a fake video that confirms the script, the brain just bypasses its critical thinking filter completely.
They don't check the date. They don't look at the context.
Exactly. They just hit share because it feels correct to the narrative they want.
It's like the public treats the relationship like a software update, you know? You download the marriage patch and instantly you're refreshing the page demanding the baby expansion pack.
That's a perfect analogy. It completely strips away their humanity.
Totally. Because these are real people who need time to adjust. And the most ironic part of this whole viral frenzy is that fans didn't need to invent fake quotes or use stock ultrasound photos.
Right, because they actually talked about it.
Exactly. If people just stopped scrolling for 5 seconds and looked at the actual sources, they'd see Callum and Dua have been incredibly vulnerable about this topic.
Very grounded and realistic. In that same Esquire UK interview, 36-year-old Callum was asked about his future, and he was so unguarded. He literally said, "I'd like to have a family and raise some kids."
Which is just a totally normal, sincere thing for a guy to say.
Very sincere. And Dua has been equally transparent. She told British Vogue, "I'd love to have kids one day."
But then she added this really profound point that so many working women can relate to. She said, but it's like the constant question of when would there ever be a good time?
Yeah, balancing motherhood with global tours.
Right. She said, how would it fit in with my job and how it would work if I went on tour? Which is such a pragmatic view of her career trajectory.
She's at the absolute peak of the global music industry.
A world tour takes the stamina of an elite athlete, plus hundreds of people rely on her for their paychecks.
So deciding to bring a child into that environment is this massive, complex logistical puzzle.
It really highlights the friction between a woman's biological timeline, her career, and this relentless demand from the public. On one hand, you have the couple being measured and realistic.
And on the other hand, you have the frantic, manufactured reality of social media just screaming at them.
Right. The internet takes Callum's sincere hope, strips away all the nuance, pairs it with a fake video of his wife, and tries to force them into this life stage before they've even unpacked their bags from Sicily.
It's intense. And you can't really do a controlled burn with a pregnancy rumor.
You really can. You can't stage a little bit of a pregnancy to keep the press happy.
Exactly. Which is why that internal fortress is their only defense. If they start rushing their actual lives to satisfy the algorithm, the whole relationship collapses.
They have to protect their own pace. So as we synthesize all of this, what does this all mean? We're looking at a story that operates on two totally different frequencies.
Yeah, the real versus the public.
Right. At its core, Callum and Dua's story is this beautiful, cinematic romance rooted in genuine connection. The book, the bespoke suits, the shared circus.
But it's constantly colliding with this incredibly impatient machinery of modern celebrity culture.
Exactly. A machine that accelerates human lives just for engagement clicks.
And it leaves you with this really provocative thought, especially when you look at the interpersonal dynamics of Frame. If the internet is constantly demanding the next milestone, the marriage, then immediately the baby, how does that immense external pressure eventually reshape the quiet, private moments of a marriage?
That's a heavy question.
It is. When millions of strangers are actively trying to write the script for your life and demanding you perform it right now, how hard is it to just stay on your own page?
Wow. Yeah. Because as much as they might just want to sit back and read that book at their own pace, the whole world is desperately trying to flip to the end.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the sources. We hope this gave you a totally new perspective on modern love, algorithmic impatience, and the real cost of viral fame.
Keep asking those big questions and challenge the narratives you see on your feed.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.